So, it's been a while. And one thing I've been seeking, trying to get an understanding and a handle of is biblical masculinity. Being a true man of God. Having the right kind of masculinity. In the sense that we're strong, we're protectors, we're willing to go to war for our wives and our families, but at the same time willing to truly love them how they deserve to be loved, how they're created to be loved, and with everything that we are. Ephesians tells us, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. What does that mean? What did Christ do for the church? He was beaten beyond recognition. He stood boldly in the face of persecution and ultimately suffered a brutal death on the church's behalf. That's what we're called to do. It says, deny yourself, die to yourself, pick up your cross and follow me. So we're supposed to take ourselves and slaughter the sinful flesh that we're trapped in so that we can be to our wives what Christ is for us. And in 1 Peter 3, it tells us, dwell with our wives with understanding, giving them honor, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that our prayers may not be hindered. So if I don't honor my wife, if I don't live with her in a way that not only honors her, but honors the God that I say that I serve and created her as a joint heir together with me in the things of the kingdom. If I don't do that, my prayers are hindered. And the word also tells us, he who knows what he ought to do and does not do it, for him that is sin. So we have to think about that. And it also tells us that we're to leave our fathers and mothers, cleave to our wives, and become one flesh. Well, how do we do that? By being united, by being both the one that will war for them, but the one that will woo them. Being a man that will romance your bride, but at the same time, be willing to move heaven and earth in defense of her. One that would be King David and war for that which is right, but also be, as the Song of Solomon talks about, when it comes to the way that he speaks of his beloved. 1 Corinthians 13, 8. Love never fails. Whether there are prophecies, they will fail, tongues will fail, knowledge, it'll vanish. But love is never to fail. It's to be long-suffering. It's to be patient and enduring. It is kind. There's no envy. There's no parading. It's being puffed up with pride or boastfulness. There's no rudeness. Not seeking its own. It's not provoked. Thinks no evil. Does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things. Believes all things. Hopes all things. Endures all things. That's 4 through 7. I know personally, in trying to understand things, and there was a long time where I wasn't here because of work, and my wife just had to handle things and shoulder the load and do it, and in a sense, our house has found itself out of order. Be right there, baby. And we had a conversation about that today, and I understood things in a little bit different perspective than I originally thought they were. I interpreted it one way, but I now understand it was something different. It was an attempt to right the ship, realign things, and get things going in the proper direction. And I have probably done a lot of the things 1 Corinthians 13 tells us love isn't. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. And in failing to do what love is, I failed to love my wife. I have failed to love her the way that she deserves to be loved. I have failed to love her the way that Christ loves the church. And I cannot make the excuse of, I didn't have an example. Because while I may not have had an earthly example, I may not have had an earthly role model, I may not have had a father that taught me how to love, how to be emotionally healthy, how to be a biblical man, I have a heavenly Father that put it all right before me. Okay, baby girl. All right, Bubba, give me 1 minute, okay, please? I make a lot of excuses for things, not necessarily consciously, maybe even subconsciously, or trying to justify why I've done certain things or why I do certain things or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're excuses. And it's sin, because I know better. If I'm not speaking in love, if I'm not being gentle, if I'm not being understanding and honoring, then I'm not being a man of God. So that means I need to learn to recognize when I do those things. Sometimes I don't realize I'm doing it, and other times I catch it after the fact. And that's 100% on me, because I need to be mindful of those things. It tells us to take every thought captive and make them obedient to Christ. So I need to take a step back and watch the thoughts that go through my mind. Because my mind, will, and emotions, that's not who I am. That's part of my fleshly life. My spirit is who I am, and I can see those things from a different perspective if I stop and take that step back and pay attention. I haven't paid enough attention to this. And in that, I haven't paid enough attention to what goes through this. And by doing that, I will see that's not of God. That's not of God. That's rude. That's coarse. That shouldn't. I'll learn those things and I'll catch those things. But it won't be by my own doing. It'll be by the power of the living God that I'm surrendering and allowing to guide and lead me to do those things. So I have to be willing to humble myself and be surrendered and die to myself, put myself last, put my family's needs before mine, take the initiative, handle what needs to get handled when I notice it needs to get handled. And I haven't done that. So to my wife, I am sorry. I do thank you for being long-suffering and enduring and willing to communicate with me the way that you have today to help me realize and recognize things. And to my children, who I've been a bad example to, I apologize. And to my family, all of y'all, my wife and my kids, I will strive to be the husband you deserve, the father they deserve, and the man that God created me to be, so that we can flourish in all things. So that from the abundance and overflow of what's within our home touches and affects everybody else. And there isn't any kind of, okay, buddy, go ahead. I'll be right there. Any kind of disconnect from what is seen and what goes on behind closed doors. What is perceived and people get the impression of being that is what it is and more. So I thank y'all for dealing with me, and I look forward to looking back and finding it hard to believe that this video was made, because I'm nothing close to what I've been, where I am, when I look back.